Okay, plugging things into functions again and pulling things out. Here's our function. It's whatever squared minus 5. And the first thing they say is plug 4 into it. Where the x used to be, put 4 instead. So the function used to be x squared minus 5. But now, where the x used to be, we put 4. 4 squared is 16, and 16 minus 5 makes 11. So f of 4 is 11. This is a different question. This one is saying we took function f, we plugged an x into it, and we refused to tell you what it is, but 4 came out. Figure out what we started with. So they did x squared minus 5. That's what this function looks like when you don't know what was plugged in. You're just calling it x. And the result was 4. Add 5 to each side because we're trying to solve this for x. And you get x squared equals 9. Careful. What are the answers to this? Yeah, there are 2. X could be 3, or x could be negative 3. Either way, you take those numbers and square them, you get 9. So the solutions to this are either 3 or negative 3. If you want, you can write that with a plus or minus sign like this. This means 3 with either sign. And finally, f of t is 75. Same thing as up here, except they've also, just to mess with us, they said, we don't want to talk about x anymore, we want to speak t today. So instead of writing x squared minus 5 equals 75, they're saying, no, we want to use t's. Please write it t squared minus 5 equals 75. Mathematically, this makes no difference. They're just saying we want to use a different variable. So that's fine, we can do that. T squared minus 5 is 75. Add 5 to each side, and you get t squared equals 80. If this were 81, we'd be all set. We'd have plus or minus 9 as our answers, but 80 does not have a nice square root. T is going to be plus or minus, for the same reason as up here, the square root of 80. And now notice, because we've done radicals, they expect us to be good at this. Why would we not stop at root 80? Can we simplify that at all? You could take a 4 out of it and get down to root 20. If you're really keen, you may have noticed that 80 is 16 times 5. And if you write it that way, then you can break it down to plus or minus 4 root 5, and that would be your simplified radical form. Now, in some questions, if this is a person's age or how many kids they have or something like that, the negative answer might be an obvious no-go. But in this question, they said at the very top that x can be any real number. So as far as we know, this negative 3 is totally reasonable, and so is negative 4 root 5. We'd give both answers.